Hi friends, my name is Aqil Ahmed, and in this particular video tutorial we will see what are the variables and parameters in SSIS. So the agenda of today's video tutorial is that we will see what are the variables and parameters and how we can use them in SSIS packages. So without wasting further time, let's jump to the demo. So in SSIS there are two type of objects, the variables and parameters. Those we can use. So the variables and parameters, they are actually used to pass the values from one task to another task in the SSIS packages, and at runtime they can store some values. So similar to other programming languages like C#.NET or Java, Python, we also have the variables and parameters in SSIS as well. So there are two type of things, as I already told, that we have the variables and we have the parameters. So the first one is the variable and then the second one is the parameter. Okay, so they are used to store some value at runtime when the package is running. So some value can be stored in the variables and parameters as well, and that value can be passed to different SSIS packages, okay, according to either you are using the variable or the parameter. So let's see what is the major difference between the variable and the parameter in SSIS. So if I talk about the variable, so the first major difference about the variable is that we can change the value of variable while package execution. What I mean is while package execution, that suppose I created a variable like folder path, and at the time of defining the SSIS variable, okay, at the time of the designing of the package, I given some value like C source folder, okay, and what I can do at the time of running the package inside the SSIS package, maybe using the execute SQL task, I can actually get the different folder path value from a SQL config table. Suppose I have a table that contains the folder path, okay, so when the package will run, I can get a different value and I can assign that value to the SSIS variable. So the variable is fully dynamic, that it can get the value from the SQL table or from a flat file or from Excel file. So you can change the value of variable at any point of time during the package execution. This is the first major difference between a variable and the parameter. And if I talk about the parameter, so actually there are two type of parameter. The first one is the package parameter and the second one is the project parameter. Okay. So the major difference between a package parameter and the project parameter is that the scope of the package parameter will be limited to that package only in which it is created. However, a project parameter is accessible to all the SSIS packages inside a given project. Okay. And now if we talk about whether we can change the value of the package parameter or the project parameter or not, so the answer to this question is that we cannot change the value of the package parameter or project parameter. Okay, so I can say that we cannot change the value of parameter, package parameter or project parameter while package execution. If I talk about the project parameter, so of course whatever value you will provide for the project parameter, you cannot change that value. And if I talk about the package parameter, so you cannot change the value of the package parameter inside the same SSIS package, but there is a catch that you can actually assign a value, or you can say you can pass a value from one package to another package while the package is running. So I will show you in a bit how you can pass a value from one package to another package during package execution using the package parameter. So you can pass the value, but you cannot change the value from the same package. Okay, so that's the major difference. And now if I talk about the scope of the variable or the package, so the scope of variable is limited to the SSIS package in which it is created. Okay, so you cannot use a variable outside of the SSIS package. It can only be used inside the same package in which it was created. However, if I talk about the package parameter, so the same thing applies here, that the scope of package parameter is limited to the SSIS package in which it is created. However, the scope of the project parameter, it is accessible to all the packages inside the SSIS project. The scope of project parameter is not limited, okay, and it is accessible to all the SSIS packages inside the current project. Okay, so whatever project parameter you will create, that project parameter can be used across all the SSIS packages. Now if I talk about the third property, and I think that will be the last property for now, so you can pass the value to SSIS variable from SQL agent job or from batch file or from C# application. Okay, so you can pass the value to the SSIS variable from either from the SQL agent job, from batch file or from C# application, and same will be applicable to the project parameter as well, that if you have a project parameter, so you can pass the value to the project parameter from SQL agent job or from batch file or from C# application. Okay, so this was about a few things about the variable and the parameters and the project parameters. So normally if you need to pass some value from one task to another task, and if you need to get some value from the SQL Server table, then you can use the variable if the value of the variable can be changed. Okay, however, the project parameter should only be used if you want to pass some value after the deploying the packages to the SSIS catalog, for example. And suppose you are using a connection like a SQL Server instance name, database name, and that connection, it might be used across multiple packages. So instead of creating the connection managers in every package, you can create a single connection manager and the value can be passed through the project parameter. Okay, so let's see like how we can use the variable and the parameter. Okay, so I have created a basic SSIS package. So this is the blank SSIS package. Okay, so let me declare a variable here. First we will see at the like how to use the variable and how we can pass the value. Suppose I created a variable and let me call the variable as folder path. Okay, and the data type I can give is the string, and suppose right now I give a value as d files. Okay, so this is the folder path variable and I assign some value at design time. Okay, now suppose if I want to change this value at runtime, so I want to get the value from the SQL Server table. Okay, so how I can do that? So if I go to the SSMS, so I actually created a table here, config values. Okay, and it contains the source folder path here and the package name. Okay, so if I select the data from the table, so it contains the source folder path, package name, ID. So I can get the source folder path from this table and I can assign this value to the SSIS variable folder path at runtime. Okay, so I can write a select query here like select from config values, and I can select the source folder path. Okay, select source folder path from config values where package name equal to this one, package.dtsx. Okay, so this is the select query. So this will return this data. So I can copy this query from here. Okay, and now what I can do, I can use the execute SQL task to get the source folder path from the SQL Server table. So I can call it as get folder path from SQL table. Okay, and then I can right click and I can configure this one. First of all, I can make a connection. So new connection, and we already have a connection to the SQL database, so I can select this connection and I can click OK, and then in the SQL statement I can paste this particular query. So this will return the source folder path. So I can click OK and I can assign this value using a single row, because this will return a single row. Okay, so that's why you can use the single row. And I can go to result set, click add. Now the result set name will be 0 because the index starts from 0, and the variable name is the folder path. So I can select the folder path from here and I can click OK. And now let me take a data flow task here. I won't write any code inside this, but I will just use it just to show you that the value of the SSIS variable will change. Okay, so what I can do, I can put a breakpoint here at the on pre-execute event. Okay, and now if I show you the value for the source folder, so right now the value of the folder path is d files. Okay, however the value of the source folder is d files apple inside the SQL Server table. Okay, so when I will execute this particular package, so the value of the folder path will change. So you know, the value of the variable is changing when the package is running, right? So that was the first thing, that the value of a variable can change inside the SSIS package execution. So right now if you go to the debug, Windows, locals, so you can check the value of a variable here. Like I created a variable folder path. So initial value was d files. When I created the variable, it was the value like d files. However, the current value is d files apple, because this is the value which is coming from the SQL Server table. So this is how you can get a value of the variable. Okay, and now if I talk about the parameters, okay, so let me create a new SSIS package here. Okay, what I can do actually, I can make a copy of this package itself. So I can right click, copy, and then I can paste it here. I can call this package as package underscore child maybe. Okay, yeah, that's fine. And now what I want to do, that I want to, for example, pass the value from this package, from package to child package. I want to pass a value from one package to another package. So this is the like package child. Okay, so I can delete this particular task where it was getting the value of the folder path from the SQL table. So now it won't get the value of the folder path. Now what I will do, I will create a package parameter here. So to create a package parameter, you can click here parameter, and then you can declare a parameter here. So I can create a variable as folder path, and the data type is string. Right now the value is blank. Okay, so I'm not providing any value here. Okay, now I want to actually call this package underscore child from the package, from my main package, and I want to pass the value, whatever will be the current value of the variable, like this value, I want to pass it to the child package, right? And right now the value of the, in the child package, we have a variable as folder path, and then we have a parameter as folder path. Both of them have the same name, right? Now let me go back to my main package. So this is my main package. Okay, now what I want to do, I want to pass the value from my main package to the child package. So I can use the execute package task here. Okay, and I can connect the data flow task with the execute package task, and then I can go to the package. From here I can, the reference type is project reference. Okay, so either we can use the project reference or external reference. For now you can think of project reference, that it will display you all the packages, whatever packages are inside this current project. Yeah, so let's keep it simple. And now let me select the package underscore child from here. Now how we can pass the value from the parent package to the child package, that we can go to the parameter binding, and I can click add here. So now this is the package level parameter folder path from the child package, and now from the source package or from the calling package, we can select the variable from here. So my variable name is this folder path. So if you look at the user, so user means that user defined variable. Okay, so this is the variable user folder path. So this is from the parent package from which we are calling the child package, and this is the from the child package. Okay, so I can click OK. Now this is the child package. Okay, so it will get the value from the parent package. So if you want to see whether the value of the this package level parameter will change or not, so what we can do, we can actually maybe put a breakpoint here. I can add a breakpoint on post execute event, okay, and then I can go back to the package.dtsx and let me execute this package, okay, package.dtsx. so this will call the, so you know, it pause the package here, okay, and if you check the value, so the value will of course be like this one, d files apple, so that's fine. Now if I continue, so it will call the child package, okay, so it called the child package, and because there was a breakpoint here, so that's why it is stopped here, it's actually paused here. Now I can check the value of the, so if you see here, this is the variable user folder path, so this is the user defined variable. However, if you scroll down, so this is the package parameter. For the package parameter, you will see $package. For the project parameter, you will see $project. For the user defined variable, you will see user here, and for the system variable, you will see system here, okay. So that's how you can identify them. So now you can see that when I created the package parameter folder path, so the value was empty here, right? There is no value. However, right now the value is d files apple, because this value is coming from the parent package, okay. So this is how you can pass the value. And now suppose if you want to pass this value, like whatever value, for example, you are getting through the package parameter, if you want to pass this value to the variable inside this package, then you know, it's pretty simple, that you can open the variables pane, and now for this particular variable I want to get the value from the package parameter, okay, and package parameter will of course get the value from the parent package. So you can select, go to the expressions here, and from the variables and parameters you can select the package parameter. So I can just drag and drop the package parameter here, evaluate expression, okay. So now the value of the folder path variable for the child package, it will come from the package parameter, okay. So now let's check it, like whether it will get the value or not. So I can click on execute package. Now I can click continue. So if you see here, it is stopped here, and now if you go to the variables and if you look at the user defined variable folder path, so you can see that the value of the folder path is d files apple, okay. So sometimes it might you know, look hard to look at all different variables because there are so many system defined variable. So what you can do, you can right click on a particular variable that you want to look for multiple times, and you can click on add watch. This will be added to a watch, and you can just directly look at it, okay. Next time you will debug the package. Same way you want to add, for example, the package parameter, so you can right click on it and add watch. So now in the watch one, we got, you know, one user defined variable and another package parameter, okay. And now suppose next time when you will debug the package, then you will find that watch window, and inside the watch window you will find only two parameters or variable, whatever they were, right. So you can see it. So yeah, this is pretty good for debugging the packages. Yeah, so this was about the package parameter. Now if we talk about the project level parameter, so right now we have two packages, package underscore child and package. So now the project parameter, actually it will be created at the project level, and it will be accessible to all the packages inside the project. So how you can create the project parameter? You can right click on project.params, click open, and now you can create a parameter here. Like for example, I can create a project parameter for server name, okay. And now whatever value I will provide here, that value, it will be accessible to all the packages. So suppose I pass a value as local here, okay, and I created another variable as database, data, and data type is string, and database name as school, okay. So now if I go to the my SSIS package here, okay, so now whatever project parameter I created, that project parameter I can use inside this package. So for example, if I want to make this connection manager dynamic, so I can right click on it, go to properties, expressions, and from the property I can select server name, and now inside the server name I can use that project parameter. So this is the project parameter which is accessible here, right? Click OK. Same way I can select initial catalog, which is database name, and then I can just drag and drop the database name here, and I can click OK. And if I click OK, then this connection manager, this will be dynamic and its value will come from the project parameter. Okay, but right now the value of the server name is not correct, so that's why I will just delete them. Okay, and so I was doing this inside this package.dtsx, and inside the child package as well you can make this connection manager dynamic using the same approach. And even you can, for example, if you open the the variables, so suppose you can create a new variable here. If you want to create a new variable, if I call it as child server for example, okay, and the data type is string, so you can get the value of this child server from your project parameter. Like if you go to the expression, so from the expression all the project parameter are accessible as well. So whatever project parameter you will create, they will be accessible inside all the packages. You can use them inside the either inside the expressions, or either in derived column, or either in any connection manager. You can use them anywhere, like similar to the variables. Okay, so like these are the two user defined variable, and this is one package level parameter, and these are the project level parameter which can be used anywhere. Okay, click OK. Okay, so this way you are using the project parameter here. Yeah, so this was about like using the project parameter. So suppose if you want to make a connection dynamic using the project parameter, so let me just copy the name of the server from here, and I can actually do it, so that in case if you need to do so, you can do that. So now I can go to the project.params, and instead of the local value I can provide the actual value for the server name and database name. Now suppose I want to make this particular connection manager dynamic, so that at the time of the deploying the package to the SSIS catalog, I can change this value. Okay, the connection manager I can change. So I can make this connection manager dynamic. I can go to properties, expressions, and then I can select the server name property, and then I can select the project parameter server name. Okay, click OK, and then I can select the initial catalog, and I can select the database name project parameter, evaluate expression. Okay. Okay, so now this connection manager is dynamic. You can see an FX sign before the connection manager, which means that this connection manager is dynamic. Okay, and if you expand the expression, so you can see that the value for the server name and initial catalog, it is coming from the project parameter. And same way, if you look at the package.dtsx, another package, so this package is right now hard coded, and you can make this connection manager dynamic as well using the same approach that I used here. Okay, yeah, so I think this was about the variable and parameters in SSIS, like how you can use them. Yes, so I think that's it for today's video, and if you got any question, then you can comment on the video and I will try to answer that. Thank you guys for watching the video, and if you like the video, then please click the like button, do subscribe to our channel, press the bell icon and click on all, so that you will be notified every time we put a new video. Thank you so much.